there's been a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but a few cavers have gotten involved in a project that became a world-class archaeology project. And we certainly, it requires all kinds of caver skills, and we certainly could use your help on what's going on and stuff like this. What we're going to do is, excuse me a minute. Mount Graham is the tallest mountain in Arizona if you measure it from its base. Humphreys Peak does something like this. Mount Graham does something like this. So Mount Graham is unique that way. It is also unique in that it has more perennial streams than any other mountain in the southwest. So it's a very, very unique place. Now in the 1350s, there were a bunch of Native Americans here that already had perfectly wonderful Hohokam canals, but they decided that they were going to totally exploit every drop of Mount Graham water. And those of you who know the area, that's kind of big. Let's, Paul, let's scroll down to where we have Mount Graham here. Yeah, move the map up. Okay, stop. Okay, you are here. So it's not that far away. It's about a 2-hour drive. Let's go down a little bit. And what they did to exploit this water is they built a bunch of canals in extremely hostile terrain. And to make it even more interesting, the Bajada is a coalescing alluvial fan. And what's left of the Bajada are all these mesas. So they hung these canals on the edges of mesas. Now that sounds kind of dumb at first glance, but if you think about it, hanging a canal on the edge of a mesa makes it slope independent of local terrain, which means you need zillions of man-hours less effort to build this thing. It also means you can build your canal across rather than along. Now, how many canals are there? We have 100 canal study areas. Of those, they're probably going to resolve 40 to 60 canals. We have a total of 150 miles of passages. Here's an old map. We're going to try to convert this to KML. By the way, we've got handouts on this, but I suggest you use the handouts with Wi-Fi because we've got about 2,000 links in the thing. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit, Paul, please. Okay, come on down. Here's some of the other stories on it. You can link to all these if you want to. Go ahead down further. And here's our own older publications. We just this week came out in the Journal of, I can't remember the name, Journal of Field Archaeology, which is a very, very prestigious paper. And we're pretty happy over that. But let's go up a little bit further. Okay, here's stop. Here's a list of, we just added canal number 97 here. But here's how many study areas we've got. And each of those, let's pick Henry Sniker's canal here. You want to click on Henry's? And let's click on, let's try this picture here. Oh, this is one of the fields. Let's go back a little bit. This is just the fields, okay. Anyway, there's about 100 of these, and each one of them leads to this tremendous, incredible engineering that was done. Okay, let's go back. Oh, there we go. Okay, now by special arrangement, Phyllis has agreed to make copies of this photo available for autographed copies for a mere $50 each. So, what? That's a standard Phyllis? Henry, is this a standard Phyllis or is this the emergency backup Phyllis? Okay, anyway, this is, of all things, Henry's Canal. Let's go a little further here. Further. Back to the main. Back, oh, yeah, back. Now slide up a little bit, please. No, this way, yeah. Yeah, the other up, yeah. Oh, okay, hold it. We're slowly getting field notes on these. We're way behind on the field notes. Let's pull up a Henry's field note here to show you an example of what the field notes are supposed to look like. So let's click on this. Okay, now it starts out describing a thing. Let's slide down until we get some pretty pictures. These are maps here. Slide down some more, slide down some more. Okay, let's show us again. And let's move up a little bit. Let's go to Henry 3, I think. Oh, is that the only one we got? Okay, that's an older version. Okay, anyway, we have these field notes that explain where we've gotten to on the canals and how far we've gotten with them. Okay, let's slide up a little bit. We're down here. Okay, how do we know these are man-made? Now, any single argument by itself is kind of weak, but we got 14 different arguments that are totally independent of each other, and when you pile the one on top of the other, on top of the other, on top of the other, you've got overwhelming evidence that they're man-made. The foremost is the unvarying optimal constant slope. An optimal canal slope in mud is 2%. Actually, it's a little under 2%. If you go over 2%, you self-destruct. If you go under 2%, you don't deliver any water. And if you go uphill, you've made a stupid mistake. So, okay. The second thing is, normally when you see a stream somewhere, it's at the bottom of a hill. It's at the lowest possible terrain. These canals are all, not all, but a lot of them are at the highest possible terrain, which doesn't happen naturally, no matter what. We have these significant hanging portions present, which represent absolutely brilliant engineering. And here's some of the other points. Okay, now how do we know they're prehistoric? By the same token, we have 14 other factors that tell us, any one of which by itself is arguable, but you put them all together, there's absolutely no doubt that this is extreme construction energy awareness, overrun by roads, dams, and cemeteries. The other thing is this particular area is a very strongly Mormon community. And Mormons all have clan historians. And if their granddaddy was building canals rather than just digging out an old ditch, they would know about it. So the historical record here is unusually good on negative evidence. Okay, let's look at some of the better pictures here. Let's start with, click through on this one. This is the High Lebanon Canal. As you can see, they went to a lot of trouble here. As you can also see, the terrain is hostile. This is the Whitlock Mountains here, so we're pretty much looking east. This canal goes down to the top of the mesa. Now, considering they didn't have Bruntons, that's a pretty swift decision here. Okay, let's dink this a little bit with, you all know about Acme Mapper, surely, right? Is there anyone that doesn't? Mapper.acme.com. If you're doing anything in caving or anything with this stuff, you gotta have it. Okay, let's dink with the photo a little bit. This is Lebanon Reservoir number 1. Here's our hanging Lebanon Canal. It's going downhill to the top of the mesa. It goes past several pinch points that absolutely define the entire 7-mile canal. So if you don't go past the point, you don't build this canal. Again, this is sheer brilliance. Okay, the next photo. Here's another, this is one of the earlier ones. We have a very strong illusion of water flows uphill. This is up, this is down. Again, Henry helped on one of the persons that helped on this particular canal. Next, please. We call this the HS Canal. The HS Canal stands for holy shit. The reason being that it's a contraflowing canal, which just means it's going down into rising terrain. It drops about 300 feet. This is one of the larger ones. It's about this wide and about this high. And originally we thought it went to this field area here, but way downstream are a bunch of canals that we don't have the water source for, and it almost has to be this. Next, please. Okay, let's see. Okay, we cheated a little bit on this photo in that we took a Dr. Neely doll that was about this tall. This is real. And the amount of dirt moved is comparable to 4 or 5 other places. Now, you could say, well, this had to be modern. But all the rest of the canal this way and all the rest of the canal that way is consistently built to prehistoric standards. And this, actually, Dr. Neely is a little taller than I am. He's not a basketball type person, but he's definitely. Next slide. There is no way this could be anything but a canal, and there's absolutely no sign of any historic rework on this particular canal. Okay, the last time I did this presentation was a very serious problem. This next slide you're going to see is one of the most spectacular slides you will ever see anywhere ever. And what happened was all of the oohs and the ahs were getting mixed up. So what I want to have happen is on this next slide is I want this group to be the oohs, and I want this group to be the ahs. So if anyone wants to change seats real quick, that's okay, let's try it. This is the largest booze factory in southwestern Arizona. And they had all kinds of other things. This didn't particularly have anything to do with the hanging canals, but they had the fields. They had all kinds of different structures and all kinds of rock arrangements and stuff. And the stuff is wildly understudied because most of U of A and ASU did stuff that was closer to home.
Could you move the mic a little closer to the mouth?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Is that better?
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, okay. Anyway, these are the grids. My co-author, we have myself as an engineer, and we have an archaeologist by the name of Dr. James Neely, who you just met, and he published the book on this. This is me, and sadly Didgeridoo's no longer with us. The canal starts here. This is half the distance to the canal continuation is about 7.5 miles, and it's called the Mud Springs Canal. If you want a insanely dangerous cave trip, there's a dam there that blew out, and it's not recommended. Okay, next picture, please. Let's see. Here's one of the Apron Check Dams. And there's a number of reasons they'll put an apron underneath. The first is to slow the water down so it doesn't scour out. And the second is to give you the ability to reach individual plants as it goes along here. Next, please. There's another one. Let's skip this one. Let's come down here. There was one place where there was a saddle, and the saddle was not high enough to suit them. So they built an aqueduct. It was this high and 200 feet long to run the canal along the top. And this is one of the only known aqueducts of that size and scope anywhere in the world. Next picture, please. And this is our last photo of the. Now there's 400 other photos which you're welcome to look at yourself later on or possibly tonight. This is the sand canal take-in. There's actually fish in this little stream here. They're just little ones, but they're still fish. And once again, this is up and this is down, and the canal goes down to the top of the mesa. Next. Okay, let's stop. These are images. Let's pick this guy maybe just as a sample. But we have 400 images. This is my granddaughter, and it's a typical of the larger canals kind of. But we've got zillions and zillions of pictures, and we certainly don't have time for them here. But I encourage you to look at them because they're absolutely mind-blowing. Let's scroll up a little bit. This is some of the other things Dr. Neely wrote. Here's some of the history out of our emails, these blog excerpts. They're not quite up to date. There's a tremendous amount of work still needs done on this. Come on up. Oh, okay. Here are the things I want you to do. So we'll start at the beginning of the room. And this is yours, and this is yours, and this is yours, and this is yours. Each of these is a piece of canal which is missing or I've been unable to get to. So, let's go back up to the pictures. There's one more thing I want to get up there. A little further. Yeah. Whoop, down. This guy. Engineers, this ought to blow your mind. They built a perfect sloped canal on top of absolutely incredibly hostile terrain, completely full of pinch points over and over again. And then they were done, they jumped off the side over here with a thing called a French drain. Go up just a little bit, Paul. I want to see, is that the top of the picture? It shouldn't be. Oh yeah, here we go. This is the possible destination field in a modern tank. Now, I have not been here yet, so this is absolutely up for grabs for you being the first person to intelligently observe and measure. This is on Dedman Mesa. Okay, Paul, move down a little bit, please. Down some more. Down some more. Down some more. Okay, here's your projects. Again, there's one each for everybody in the room, and you can all do these all tomorrow. I mean, no problem at all. Okay, here's some stuff we have for sale. How long would it take to build a canal? Let's pick on somebody.
Lifetime.
What?
100 years?
Could you build 1 foot of canal in an hour, given the motivation that you starve to death if you don't do so? Do you think you could do that?
1 foot of canal?
Yeah, in 1 hour.
I guess it depends on how big the canal is.
Well,
Probably.
okay.
Are you saying modern tools are there?
No, they'll give you the best stone tools they've got available. Okay, no grade alls. And as soon as you start using a grade awl, the canals get humongously big because it doesn't matter how much dirt you move anymore. Okay, so if you told me you could do 1 foot an hour, could you do 15 feet a day?
Probably, so I was starving.
Okay. And could you do a mile a year? Okay, so 1 man year per mile, got 150 miles, 150 man years for the construction. And then we probably had some supervisors and we had people starving to death and stuff. So let's say 250 man years. Now that's a big chunk of time, but it's nothing compared to like the Mayan pyramids or anything like that. So it's definitely kind of positive and reasonable. And Dr. Neely has a totally different way of getting at a somewhat similar figure. So we're looking at 200, 250 man years to build these things. Okay, let's go down a little bit. A little more, please. Okay, Henry already talked about this in his speech. How did they survey this stuff? And the way they most logically surveyed it was they would build a little pilot canal and they would put enough water into it for static, to make a static water level. And they would have some rule like 1 fist every 15 feet. And this gave them a credible way of not having a burden. Got it? Okay, again, you invited to participate in this world-class Bajada hanging canal research. Now, what does this have with caving? All of the cavers' skills and interests apply. And so I welcome you to participate. That's it.
Did you mention when did they figure these were abandoned the last time they were used? Did they have an approximation?
The normal range is 1250 to 1450. We're very confident a 1350 figure. However, in the late 1500s, very, very strange things happened in southwestern archaeology, and nobody wants to go near there. Next question.
Don, as a caver, I never have to use suntan, block.
Right. Well,
Would you provide that if we went on?
oh yes, absolutely.
We never have to worry about that.
There's two big advantages of this over caving. And the first is it's real easy to rack up 150 miles of passage. And the second is you have a tremendous savings on carbide.
If you use it. But Don, really, my real question was, how do you think that they kept, as the canal was flowing, kept it from, the water from sinking in too much to where it wasn't as efficient as it would have been otherwise, or scouring more?
Okay, well, they had an optimum slope, so that was the start of it.
That helps determine the optimum slope.
Yes, right, and then for the particular, whatever they've got. But that's a very good question. There's a lot of, to this day, most of the Gila Valley canals are dirt. So apparently they would kind of self-line. Because, yeah, you build a canal on it this big and make it 7 miles long, your immediate response is you're not going to get anything out the other end. But apparently nobody felt that this was a problem because they kept doing it over and over and over again. And the amazing thing is all of these are complete and perfect. We've yet to find any mistakes or anything that was started and not finished or anything like that at all. Sir?
You got to believe they were concerned with maintenance, and they kept continuous maintenance, I would imagine.
Oh, they'd have to.
Their livelihood.
Yeah, certainly. Sir?
John, are these all on the same slopes, or do the slopes vary, and what are the range of slopes?
0 to 90 degrees. There's all kinds of different streams come off of Mount Graham. And what they typically would do is as the stream goes into the Bajada, it disappears underground. So 100 feet above there is where they would start their canal. And then they would set up an optimal slope by their choice of route to go 5, 7, maybe 8, and in one case about 14 miles. And when they get to the end, they deliver their water. And the amazing thing is that they wouldn't have kept doing this if the first one didn't work. Sir?
You know what kind of food they were growing?
Agave, corn. I'm not sure what else. You'd have to address Dr. Neely on that. My approach has been to try to understand the physics of the canal. Why is it there? Where does it go from? How many are there and stuff? Dr. Neely's interests are how did the people interact with what they were doing? And we kind of stay out of each other's road on that. Sir?
How deep were these things relative to the amount of evaporation you're going to get? If you're going to run 7, 8 miles, it sounds like a very slow slope, so it doesn't sound like the water's moving very fast. How much would you lose to evaporation over that distance?
Good point. The evaporation rate in the area is 120 inches a year. But apparently it didn't bother them. It might have been that not only did they like water or worship water, they might have had a whole other level above water being an absolute mastery type thing that they revered and stuff like that. So maybe they didn't care how much they had. Also, when they were irrigating, they would take 1 teacup of water on their plant compared to modern cotton irrigation where you got 6 acre-feet per acre of cotton kind of, which is a totally different way. So we have this bias that we're going to need a lot of water to do something, and maybe we just need a teaspoonful at a time. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time. There's